I want to ask you about your video game ritual. So obviously, of the people that listen to this, there is a meaningful amount that are involved in video games in some capacity.
Oh, cool. Oh, so you probably know about Vlambeer then.
I don't, which is part of the reason that, and that'll be good for the people that don't know about video games.
Probably will know.
So, Ariel put together a ritual upon the completion of this specific video game, which regrettably we missed because we were moving into our Staten Island residence for the month.
It was a wonderful event.
Yes, but you said you were going to tell us about it.
Oh, sure, I'll tell you about it.
Here we are.
Of course, and it relates to the park.
Oh, great.
Because the game itself is very similar to what we were saying in the beginning. It presents itself as being extremely difficult, but you're almost at the end. It keeps telling you you're almost halfway there. And like, that's true, except the game never ends. It loops infinitely.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And so I used to play a lot, and then I'd be looping, and then I'd be looping here on the park.
Wow.
And that just felt special.
Yeah.
The game,
tell us about the game, like the genre and all that.
It is a roguelike game, which is a phrase I learned recently. Since I started playing like over a year ago, which I could explain a little bit.
Sure.
Okay, it's a top-down arcade-style shooter where lots of stuff is randomly generated. So this is basically a 16-level looped gauntlet, meaning you have to make it through each of the 16 passages, and then at the 16th you go back to the first, but it's harder.
Okay.
And the 16 have a very specific set of parameters, so they'll always be kind of the same. The first 3 are always, you're in the desert, and there's always the same bad guys, but how many of each, where they are, what the landscape looks like, are all randomly generated. So there's always a feeling of discovery, and you need to find certain boxes that you know are going to be there, but you don't know where or how hard. It could be, there's one level in specific called the labs that you go into, and it's hilarious because sometimes it's so easy. And sometimes it's so hard you just cannot beat it. And every time you die, you go right back to the beginning. You can't save anything.
Okay.
Except for certain achievements, unlock more characters and stuff.
Right.
So that's basically the game. It's super hard. It's more of a place to be, in a way, than a game to play. I feel like it expands my feeling of being alive, not like I have to finish it. And to get 100% is really like a stupid and hard challenge where you're like just doing the same things over and over in every possible iteration.
Yeah.
But due to being without a job for a while, this made me feel the happiest.
Yeah.
And I still play. There's many other parts we discussed. It has a really awesome weekly and daily leaderboard.
Okay.
So every week, one possible set of randomness is kind of locked down.
Okay.
So you can explore one set of randomness, meaning the first desert will always be the same, the second desert will always be the same, etc. And you can explore that for a whole week, and whoever did the best, the top 10 are listed and the top 60 are listed.
Okay.
And then every day, there is one set of randomness that everyone gets to play the same one, but only once.
I see.
Oh, wow.
And so it's like, have you practiced today? Oh, you haven't? Don't do the daily yet.
Right.
Practice for like 3 or 4 hours.
Wow.
Because you want to get in the groove.
Yeah.
And then in my house, we have what's called the kiss of death, which means I'm playing and Marissa comes and gives me a kiss, and the flow is ruined.
Oh, no.
But it's worth it.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
But it's really about getting into the pattern and the rhythms.
Yeah.
Right.
Knowing all possibilities that can happen, taking what you have, being cool with it,
Yeah.
slowing down or speeding up. The colors are crazy, like it's in the email the email recap, there were pictures of like Tibetan art, gods with many heads. And the example I gave of the game is that, and this is like the last but most important point almost,
Yeah.
when the game loops, it gets exponentially harder, but also exponentially more ridiculous. And it's kind of like if you had breakfast one day. Well, also it takes 4 or 5 months to even get to the last level.
Oh, wow.
like the last of the 16, and you've already played probably 200 or 300 hours
Yeah.
without knowing what it means to go full loop.
Wow.
And the full loop is so satisfying. And that part of the game is really what it's about. You realize the whole first 400 hours, we're just teaching you the rules.
Wow.
You gotta try it. It's
Yeah,
so much
yeah.
fun.
It sounds cool.
It's called Nuclear Throne. I haven't even said the name.
Nuclear Throne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which-
So,
Yeah.
so what did the conclusion ritual itself look like?
Oh, so in Jewish culture, if you finish a tractate of the Talmud, there are basically prayers you say that are things like talking about the infinity of studying the Talmud and how it goes on forever, and I've just tapped into a small part, and may it benefit all beings, and may my learning continue forever. And we basically just replaced the tractate of Talmud with the game Nuclear Throne. My friend Tal and my brother Rafi, who also play this game, and we have a long-standing text investigation of the game.
Yeah.
Each gave speeches,
Nice.
and then there were a few questions that everyone got to answer, which is my style of group leadership.
Yeah.
And they had to do with the sublime in art, because I felt like there were moments of the game. There are moments of the game, because it's all based on randomness, or internal randomness, where you can set up a series of parameters that cause such a glitch in the game that when you shoot the big plasma cannon, everything shakes with all the loot that you're getting and that's being destroyed. Like, you've set up this system that usually has an end, but at least the Nintendo Switch can't handle it. I hear that if you play on the computer it can.
Oh,
Okay.
And it's so satisfying that you made this internal system and have survived 20 odd minutes long enough to release this blast that creates such chaos
Wow.
and balance, really.
Yeah.
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 And then we had a little, there were a few other elements. There's, anyway, I could send some links, but.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you record the Zoom? No.
No,
It just
I
happened
asked-
it was ephemeral.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I asked Tal and Rafi if they would ever want to watch it again. They were like, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
We're all
Yeah.
kind of exhausted from technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be, if you're so inclined, cool to reach out to the developers.
We
I think
did.
they would. Oh, you did.
Oh, you
We
did?
did. We had email contact with Paul Veer, who
Okay.
is named right up the top there.
Yeah.
Well, there was a nice moment where you can post from your Switch to Twitter directly.
Oh,
30-second
wow.
clips of your gameplay.
Okay.
So I posted, and no one follows me on Twitter. I don't use it really. I just was storing my videos, and you could see a crazy progression if you play the game. And then one of them had like 1,800 views.
Oh my
Not a
gosh.
huge amount, but one of the developers wrote on it, like, our game's art. And it was a pretty funny moment in the game, like, that you can make happen. Tragic and funny. And it just felt so nice. Like,
Yeah.
isolated in pandemic, and JR of Lambier noticed me.
Yeah.
And then we wrote to one of the other developers. So yeah, and apparently like the day after the SEUM, they disbanded Lambier as an entity. They said the project has completed its goals and it's over.
Wait, the day after you had your
Just
event?
about, yeah.
Wow.
We invited them, but they didn't attend. They're busy
Yeah.
people, and
Yeah.
they're Dutch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it felt like, wow.
Yeah.
But I also love that, because I think more projects need to be upfront about when it's time to recycle.
Yeah.
Right. Right, and understanding that it's maybe time to get off that particular loop.
Yeah, don't hoard.
Yeah.
That is some cosmic timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.